Hello everybody, Greg here with How to Read Music. This is lesson 1-3, a few more notes and a few more intervals. And with this lesson we'll be giving you the whole enchilada, so to speak. You will learn all of the notes on the grand staff and then some. So far we've looked at these landmarks: bass C, bass clef F, middle C, written two different ways, treble clef G, and treble C. Now what I'd like to do is just set aside the F and the G for a while, and we're going to focus just on the C's. So, starting with middle C, if it's written on the treble staff, it looks like that. On the bass staff, it looks like that. Two ways of writing the same note. That is treble C, second space from the top of the treble staff. There is bass C, which is second space from the bottom of the bass staff. And here's a new one. This is high C, and it is a pretty high C. In fact, it's so high that you need not one but two extra lines above the treble staff, we call those ledger lines, to write a high C. It is a line note. It's on the second ledger line above the treble staff. So that is high C. And guess what? Down below bass C, the next C is low C, and it is two ledger lines below the bass staff. It's another line note. So there's low C. So now you have 5 different C's to use as landmarks. 5 on the keyboard, technically I guess 6 on the grand staff. So more landmarks to help you find your place on the staff and on the keyboard. Now, do you remember intervals? If you don't, or if you haven't learned intervals, go to lesson 02 and it gives you a little bit of an introduction. We're going to take it further today. Intervals are the distance between two notes on the staff or two notes on the keyboard. So first let's look at intervals on the keyboard. This is a second. It's one note to its neighbor. So C and a D, they're right next to each other. That is a second, and it's just one letter apart in the musical alphabet. This is a third, and you'll notice we're skipping a white key, and we are skipping an alphabet letter name. This is a fourth. It's one bigger than a third. We're not going to do much with fourths today. We'll come back to those another time, but fifths are very useful, and we're going to use those a lot today. Notice that there are 3 white keys between the notes of a fifth. So if we are starting on a C and we're going to this G, this is a fifth up. We're going to the right on the keyboard. Up is to the right. And from this C to the left, that's down a fifth on the keyboard. So C down a fifth is F. The most accurate way to measure a fifth on the keyboard is to use your fingers and to put one finger above each white key and simply count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So these two notes are a fifth apart, and there'll be 3 white keys in between. Yes, we are only sticking to the white keys for now. We'll get to the black keys another time. That's another can of worms, but this will introduce the principle correctly. And if you're going down a fifth, same thing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These two notes are a fifth apart. And it doesn't matter, you use left hand, right hand, doesn't matter as long as you're using one finger on each key. So, now let's look at intervals on the staff. You may recall that a second goes from a line to a space. It goes from a line to the very next space. It's the smallest distance you can measure on the staff. A third is one further. It goes from a line to a line. A fourth goes from a line to a space, but it's one bigger than the third. And a fifth, and this is the one we're going to spend some time looking at today, fifth goes line to a line, so it's a little bit like a third, but it skips a line in between. So a fifth goes from line to a line with a line in between. Now let's do the same thing starting on a space. Here's a second, a third, space to a space. Here's a fourth, and a fifth goes from a space to a space, but it skips a space in between. So a fifth goes from a line to a line with a line in between. Or a fifth goes from a space to a space with a space in between. By the way, notes on top of each other are to be played at the same time. So if I played these notes one at a time, it would sound like that. If I play them together, it's like that, and that's where we get harmony. Here is a fifth. One at a time would be like this, but because they are on top of each other, that's a fifth being played both notes at the same time. You can even have three notes played at the same time, a third and a third above that. Those three notes played together sound like that. A second looks like this, and it looks weird. You have one note smooshed out to the side, and that's because if you had them both facing the same direction, it would just look like a kind of a smudge, and it would be really hard to tell what notes you were playing. So one note is set out to the side to make it easier to read. The first time people see this in the lesson, often they say, "What in the world is that?" And I explain that it's a second, and that's what they look like. A little flower. And in addition to looking a little weird, they also sound a little dissonant. Okay, so a second does have a distinctive sound when it's played together. Now, here is the piano keyboard and the grand staff with all of the landmarks that we've been talking about, the different C's. Knowing all those, let's figure out this note. Well, here's treble C. Okay, and this note is above treble C. How far above? Well, we notice that it's a space to a space with a space in between. That makes it a fifth. So let's find treble C on the piano, and we go with our fingers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we end up on G. So this note is a G. Not just any G, but this one here. Okay? Now, what's this note? Well, we know that bass C is here. This note is lower than bass C. How much lower? Well, it goes from a space to a space with a space in between. So let's find bass C on the piano. And we go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we end up on an F. So this mystery note is an F. Not just any F, but that one right there. Ooh, now we're getting up pretty high here. Okay, well, let's just think it through. We know that high C is 2 ledger lines above the treble staff. So there's high C. And this note is above it, and it goes line to the very next line. So it's a third. So what we do is we find high C. There's middle C, treble C, and high C is way up here. And up a third from high C is E. So high C up a third is E. So that's what that note is. Not just any old E, but this E right here. Oh my goodness, even higher. All right, don't panic. We can do this. We know that this is high C, and we're going from a line to a line, skipping a line in between. So we're going up a fifth. So high C on the piano is here, and we go up a fifth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we end up on G. C up a fifth is always going to be G. So this mystery note is a G. And not just any G, but this G way up there. How about this one? We know that low C is here, and we're going down line to a line with a line in between, so that is a fifth. And let's look for low C. Here's middle C, bass C, and there's low C. And we go down a fifth. and we land on F. So this mystery note is an F. Right there, way down there. So, at the end of our last lesson, you were able to read this much of the staff and this much of the keyboard by simply introducing another landmark, two landmarks, high C and low C, and also introducing fifths. You can now read this much of the staff and this much of the keyboard. So just knowing those landmarks, you can find all those notes. No other mnemonic devices or sayings you have to memorize, just some landmarks and some intervals. That's all you need to know. The staff makes sense. It's all in order. It's logical. Are you going to be able to do that really well tomorrow? Probably not. You may want to take a screenshot of this page, otherwise I'll be putting up a link to a page that you can print. But here's a great exercise that works really well with my students, and it's so simple, but it works wonders. Simply draw all of the C's every day. So you'll have all of the C's written on the left and 7 boxes going to the right. So on Monday, you practice drawing treble C, bass C, middle C. Now draw the line first and then the note, and the other middle C line and then the note. And then high C, first draw the lines and then the note. And same thing with bass C, the lines and the note. And then on Tuesday, draw the same thing, and then Wednesday and the rest of the week. And if you do that for a week, you'll be pretty good at finding these notes on the staff as you're reading. And if you do it for, say, a month, it'll be stuck in your brain for the rest of your life and you will never forget it. It's a very simple exercise. Just draw the C's once every day and you'd be very surprised how well it works. That was a lot. Come back to this video. Don't start at the beginning if you don't want to. Start where you need to review something because there's a lot in here. You don't have to watch the whole video. Next lesson is going to be lesson 1-4, sharps and flats. So thanks. Have fun. Good luck. Ask me any questions. See you next time. Bye.